Hi there, I'm Craig Hain, and my students call me Dr. Dell, and I'm here to talk to you about teaching math, whether you're a homeschool teacher or whether you're a concerned parent of a student that is in a more standard curriculum. I want to talk to you because teaching math can be one of the most critical and important things that happens to your child. In this day and age we live in, if you understand mathematics and are pretty good at math and not afraid of math, it will open up all sorts of career opportunities for you that otherwise will remain closed. That's just a fact of life. We all know there are, for example, today 600,000 manufacturing jobs in this country that are unfilled because they can't find qualified people. But for people to get qualified, they've got to go to some kind of schooling apprentice program, and to do that they need mathematics at a certain level. So I've been involved in teaching adults all sorts of technical subjects and mathematics for many years. I am a mathematician. I have a PhD in math, taught math at all levels for a long time. And it's time that we really take control of the education of our students. A small percentage of students are surviving with the standard curriculum, but a high percentage are not doing well at all for a variety of reasons, and it's not their fault. And in fact, it's not the fault of their teachers really either, and it's certainly not the fault of their parents. So that's what I want to talk to you about. Here's the situation. If you have a child that has struggled for some reason with math, maybe they don't like it, they have a fear of it, they've had a problem with it, then you need to take some corrective action. I've written a book about this whole subject that's in depth. It's called Teaching Math, and it's not a real long book. It's 120 some pages long, but it really discusses in complete depth the problems we have today, and more importantly, what you can do about it, what we should be doing about it. And this book you can buy on our website, or you can go buy a Nook version or a Kindle version of it, or we'll give it to you. We'll give you a PDF version if you're willing to print it out yourself, so you don't have to spend anything. But the important thing is you read it. Now, the first thing I tell you, one of the first things I tell you in the book in chapter 2 on page 17 is I talk about what I call the effective math education triad. And there's three components of a successful math program. The first and most important I put at the top of the triad is the psychology of your student. Your student has to not be afraid of math. In fact, they have to learn to enjoy math, and they have to like to do it. And mathematics is like a sport. If you practice it and do it properly, you'll get good at it, you'll enjoy it. It can be frustrating sometimes, but especially in the beginning, but you can get very good at it. And I have found very few students that cannot learn math. I would say it's almost minuscule that people that can't. If you have some sort of a learning disability, maybe they can't. But that's a rare student. And most of the students that I run into, particularly in adult education, have had a bad experience. They don't like math. They're afraid of it. The second ingredient that's very important is the way you teach it. Now, I'm able to do something today that a lot of other companies are trying to do too, and that is we can deliver math in a self-paced mode over the internet, where the student can watch a video, pause it, back up, go forward, and so on. And a good example of that is Khan Academy. It's a wonderful resource for you. You can go to Khan Academy. There's all kinds of videos on math and a lot of other subjects, and you can get an idea of what that's about. And in fact, Sal Khan said that he found that his nieces and nephews preferred watching his videos as to him tutoring them live because they could pause, they could back up, etc., etc. Now, what I do is very different from Khan Academy, and so I recommend them as a resource. But I put together a curriculum that I believe is the best and most optimal way for any student to learn math. And I call it, it's a 10-tier curriculum. Really, the first 6 tiers are the ones you'll be most interested in. And I think the first thing you need to do is you need to get your student psychology straightened out. Another very important thing about math is the tools you use. The math habit is something we want to develop in your student, and the math habit is this. You've got some sort of a situation where you need to know an answer to a problem. You need a result. How long should a pipe be? What's the area of a wall on a room? What's the volume, etc. You first need to ask what facts are available to you. And secondly, what tools are available to take those facts and get the desired answer or the result you want. That's what we call the math habit. What facts do you have? What tools do you have? How do you get the result? Now, the tool that I recommend that we teach our students very early on is this marvelous thing called a calculator. This calculator, I happen to use the TI-30XA calculator in my training because it is an extremely easy calculator to learn to use. It's a scientific calculator. It's not expensive. It costs less than $10 in most places. And it's easy for students to learn, but it's powerful. When I think back to teaching math before calculators came along, it would take a tremendous amount of time to teach people to do things with pencil and paper, or even with slide rules, and look up tables with trig tables and log tables and all of that sort of thing. This calculator's changed all that. Today we can teach math in a fraction of the time it used to take when you do things manually, and that's how I believe you should start. So the first thing we do in our training program is we have training on how to use the calculator. And it's about, I don't know, 16 or 20 lessons. They're all video lessons. And the way all of our training works is this. The student watches a video and learns what it is we're teaching them on that topic. Then the student goes to our exercise book, and we use an exercise book. This is the hard copy of it, and opens up for that particular lesson. There's a set of exercises. Then along with those exercises are the answers to the exercises, and so they see what the solutions are. This book also then is the notebook that goes along with the video, so that when the student is watching the video, I usually use the notes out of this book. I'm talking about them so the student doesn't have to take notes. Then they do the exercises, and then there's an online quiz. And that's the feedback that lets them know they succeeded, lets you know they succeeded. And this is critically important. You need a lot of feedback. One of the things about a habit, if you want to establish a habit, is you've got to, after you engage in whatever that activity is for the habit, you've got to get feedback, and the quiz is the feedback. So learning math then is like climbing a ladder. They go one topic, the next topic, the next topic. And after they do the calculator course, which doesn't take very long for most students, then I put them into what we call a pre-algebra course. And that's only about 12 or 13 lessons. It doesn't take much pre-algebra then. It's really, for many of them, it's a review, but it's make sure that they really have the understanding they need to go into algebra. Now remember, we're talking about the foundation course here. This is the practical math foundation that anybody needs if they want to just pursue what I call a regular technical career, like you want to be a plumber or a landscaper or a mechanic or whatever it might be, a maintenance person out in industry today. What we do is and by the way, this is all on the website. You can look at the syllabus on our website to see exactly the topics that are covered in this. After the pre-algebra, we do some algebra. Now, we just do the algebra that you need for practical math. That's only a small percentage of what's taught in a typical high school algebra course. We stick to the topics that you're going to find useful. Then we do geometry. And again, we do the geometry that you're going to use in practical math. Triangles, circles, cylinders, volumes and areas, how long should something be, things like that. And then we do trigonometry. And the reason is, if you don't know what trigonometry is, if you're not a math person, the most important figure in mathematics is a triangle, three-sided figure. And there are certain questions about triangles that you cannot answer unless you have this subject called trigonometry. So we cover that, about 7 lessons. Now, that's called the foundation course. So it covers the use of the calculator, pre-algebra, algebra, geometry, and trig, the first pass through. It's a self-study course. This is the book for it, the notes and the exercises. And it takes most students about 50 hours to go through it. It's self-paced. Some students do it quicker, some take longer. It doesn't matter. What you care about is that your student is learning with enthusiasm and is getting the proper feedback. This is what I would put every student through before anything else. And that's what I call the first 2 tiers of our system. And so if you're a homeschool teacher, and particularly if you're a parent whose student is struggling, you need to find out about this. You need to get them enrolled in it. And there are different programs to get them involved in it. It's not very expensive. You'll be amazed at how cost effective it is, I think. I'm not going to quote prices here, but it's very, very cost effective. You contact our people at our company, Triad Math Inc., and they'll tell you more about it. They'll send you the latest information. I definitely think you should read this book because it's all about teaching math. And then the question becomes, what about students that want to go beyond practical math? They want to become engineers or scientists. They want to go into one of the so-called STEM subjects, S-T-E-M. Science, technology, engineering, and math. Well, here's what we do in Tier 3. This is the greatest book ever written on pre-calculus math. Algebra, geometry, and trigonometry. It's 119 pages long. It's by a wonderful teacher by the name of Dr. George Simmons. This book was published in 1986, and it is absolutely a magnificent book. And this is what I use as a textbook in Tier 3. And we go through this in about 1 semester time. Most kids take about 6 months to go through it. It'll be algebra, geometry, and trig at the next depth of level. And in fact, I only do about 80% of it because some of the topics are just a little deep for the next pass through. Then in Tier 4, we do it again, another year through. Only now we do the deeper topics. In fact, there's topics in here that are not covered in a typical high school math course. In fact, there's topics in here that most high school math teachers don't even know. It's pretty amazing. I was amazed myself when I read this book. Simmons is a brilliant teacher. The way I came across him, by the way, I used one of his advanced books on topology and modern analysis in an advanced theoretical course when I was teaching at an engineering school. Anyway, it's a great book. We go through it a second time in Tier 4, but in Tier 4, I add some other material that's not in this book, and in fact, you're not going to find it anywhere. In particular, I talk about the complex number system. I describe all that in here, why it's important. If you're going to be a scientist and engineer, you must understand the complex number system in depth. Then in Tier 5, we do calculus. And believe it or not, today, I can teach a person calculus, all they need to know for engineering or science, in about 2 months. It's quick and easy, and the reason is the tool. There's tools today that are so powerful that the way we used to teach calculus is obsolete now. These tools just have changed everything. Think what spreadsheets have done for business. Well, there's tools like that for calculus now. It's called Mathematica, the one I like. And then following calculus is differential equations, which is an extension of calculus, and that is the workhorse of all science and engineering. All modern science and all modern engineering is based on differential equations, and that can be, again, learned in about 2 months because of the tool. So Tiers 5 and 6 will get a student ready for the best engineering school in the country. They're ready now for MIT, Caltech, Rose-Hulman, Purdue, you name it, because they'll know that. And all of that takes probably, for most students, about 3 years to go through. Depends on it's self-paced, so they can do it as fast as they want to or not. There are 4 more tiers I will not talk about now, and that's strictly for people that want to become maybe professional mathematicians. Believe me, there's things they need to know that are not being taught in high school today. They need to know it if they're going to compete with their international competitors. I'm going to tell you now, if you've got a student that's thinking of becoming a mathematician, they're really, really good at math, they like math, and they want to become professional, the high school curriculum today does not even begin to cut to mustard. There's so much more they need to be learning when they're 14, 15, 16 years old. I mean, just imagine starting a kid to play golf when he's 18 years old. How good is he going to be? I mean, he's going to compete with the Tiger Woods of the world. You got to start when you're young, and advanced math is like that. But that's the last 4 tiers. And I talk about it in this book. I tell you what's in it, what should be covered, and why. In any event, I wanted to talk to the homeschool teachers because a lot of you, I'm getting calls today, I'm getting feedback on our website, on our Facebook, and our Twitter. I'm a homeschool teacher. What should I do? And the answer is, well, first go to our website and educate yourself. There's a lot of videos there that talk a lot about all these things in depth. I have a video for students. I have one for parents. I have one for teachers. Then what you really need to do is you need to jump in and get your feet wet. How are you going to do it? You need to sign your student up. I don't care what age they are. I don't care if they're 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 years old. It doesn't matter what age. If they're getting started in math, or if they've been struggling with math, they need to go into the foundation course. In fact, I would not let a student into the upper tier with this book until they go through the foundation. That's a prerequisite. Now, if you say, well, my student already knows a lot of math, fine. All they got to do is take the quizzes. They go through the whole thing in about 2 or 3 hours if they know it already. Just take the quizzes. You don't have to watch the videos and do the problems if you know the math. So that was my message to homeschool teachers. I urge you to go to our website, educate yourself, get a free copy of my book, the PDF version, and read it, and then get your kids started on the foundation course, which is going to be, you're going to be amazed at the results. The feedback is fantastic from the students. And the only thing that counts with any program, I don't care whose program you're using, there's only one thing that counts. How successful is it for your child, for your student? That's what counts. No one's opinion matters except how good is it for your student. That's the message I want to convey today on this video. So I wish you luck, and I hope that maybe if you have any further questions, you can contact us, and I can answer them on other videos. We're always posting new videos all the time. This is Dr. Dell, signing off. Good luck to you.